page 1 is the audiobook. So I give away the audiobook for free. Now, some people think, a lot of people will click the look inside and they'll see this and they're like, wow, Chandler is an idiot. He doesn't know that I can get his audiobook for free. Of course I know that. The audio, that lead is worth way more to me than if they would have bought the book.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Shane Sam Show. I love it when I get to reconnect with old friends on the podcast. And today I've got an old buddy, Chandler Bolt. How you doing, man?
Shane, what's happening? Great to be here.
Great to be here as a married man. How's that treating you?
Recently,
just got married?
I'm 6 weeks in. This is I know everything.
You're past the right of refusal. You know that, right? The ROR is over, son.
Yeah. Oh man.
Anything changed or different just in your normal flow or routine from going from a singular good-looking bachelor to a single good-looking married man? What's all right? I'm sorry, not single,
awesome.
married, good-looking married man. Yeah,
it's been great. I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this. Just the depth of connection and commitment and relationship with the person that you're with. I mean, it's just like instantly changes. I think it changed when we got engaged, and I think it changed when we got married. So we're just trying to create good habits and learn from people like you. So every time I meet somebody who's married, I'm like, yo, advice for your first year of marriage. What you got?
Jocelyn has a great saying about this. Like it's the truth of marriage. And because everyone, there's the honeymoon period, there's pie in the sky, there's this. And Jocelyn always tells people, you have to realize you're there to challenge each other. Sometimes you're going to bring out the best in each other, and occasionally the worst. But the worst is where the work is done. You know what I mean? So you get to see yourself in that. And I'll tell you, for me, man, just as a guy, I've been married. We had our 20th anniversary in July. It was amazing. And we've been together 25 years. And man, like this morning, man, I woke up. It was about 6 o'clock. And, Jocelyn usually sleeps a little bit longer than I do. My kids sleep in because it's summertime. And so I'm getting ready to get up and take my dogs out like I do every morning. I go sit on my front porch and read a little bit. But man, when you wake up, oh man, I'm gonna cry. When you wake up and you look over and you see this woman that you absolutely love and that you literally said out loud to the world and the universe, I am committed to being beside you until the end of your life. Dude, when you wake up like that, there's a different reason to get out of bed. You can't not get out of bed. You can't not go work hard. You can't not dream bigger and want more. And I think as we're young, like when you're entrepreneurs and you're young or you're building your business or you're going out in your career, you're getting up and you're really driven for something, but you finally hit this wall like, why am I doing all this? But when you find that woman, man, that you love and you want to have a good life and you want to do everything you can to help her do that, you get up every morning and you get to see that. So you have the ultimate motivation, baby, laying next to you now is that beautiful bride, man. How's that
awesome.
for you?
That's a good word.
Good word, man. All right, Chandler, tell me real quick, though, you own selfpublishing.com, which is one of the greatest domain names of all time I've ever seen anybody buy. But tell me about selfpublishing.com, how you got into self-publishing books, and why do you do what you do? Tell me a little bit about your background.
I mean, I'm the least likely to publish guy. I'm a C-level English student and a college dropout with ADHD. But they say sometimes
we call that the triple whammy. That's what we call it.
Triple threat. Triple threat to your author career. But no, I mean, but I saw the results of it. I wrote and published a couple books when I dropped out. They did pretty well. And people said, hey, how are you having success with this? Can you teach me? And I didn't want to teach them. I wanted to just run businesses, but eventually started teaching it and created self-publishing school that's now become selfpublishing.com. We've published, thousands of books over the last decade. We publish about 2 to 5 books a day right now. We've done 65 million in that time frame. So scaled the business. That led to me being on Forbes 30 Under 30, Inc. 5000, a bunch of other stuff. But it's really just, I'm passionate about it because books change lives.
Yeah, they do.
They changed my life. When I dropped out of school, I just read, I would say, hey, what's the biggest problem in my business right now or in my life right now? Let me find the best book on it. And I call it a $15 mentor, right? The smartest, most successful people on the planet have written books. and all we
Yeah.
have to do is pay $15 and spend a handful of hours, and we can learn the best things that they know. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
It's incredible, dude.
I guess
Yeah.
so. I mean, that's why I love it. Is because we're changing lives through books, and it's been an amazing experience so far, and I don't see an end in sight.
I got to meet you as you were building all this. Like, what was that? Like 6 years ago, something like that? I don't
Probably
know.
so. Yeah.
But man, I just remember I remember you were growing, you were doing it, you had all these plans and dreams and this and that and the other. And like I love it when I just get to see like cool people in my life say they're going to do something and then I watch them do it. I get to see it's like a TV show on social
Yep.
media and like through our friend network to hear what you're doing and see the things that you're going on. And I can attest to it, man. Like I'm starting to feel this impact that a book can make. I just wrote my first book. It's in final everything, getting ready to launch the book. We chose to self-publish because I wanted to like control the book. I wanted to have total control of it to use in my
Hmm.
funnels and do stuff like that. And man, when I saw the final manuscript, I've seen the cover. We're about to get the first physical copy. I had this overwhelming urge, like, "Oh my gosh, you mean this whole time I could have just put this book in as many people's hands as possible, and all of my stories, and all of my message, and all of my mission, and all of my purpose could have, like, lived in their house with them?" And it's, like, becoming real, right? So
Mm.
so so on that note, like, why self-publishing? Why is that? I know why we did it, but
Yeah.
why are you so passionate about people doing this self-publishing for their
Well,
books instead of trying to get a traditional deal?
yeah. I mean, I think it's entrepreneurial publishing, right? It's betting
Mm,
on yourself. And so, for a long time, the only way to sell books was to get into bookstores. The only way to get into bookstores was to have a publishing deal. Only way to have a publishing deal was to have an agent and, right? There's all these gatekeepers and bottlenecks, and a lot of people taking a cut.
yeah, man.
And you just don't need that anymore. I mean, it's 70% of all books are sold on Amazon and other online retailers, and you don't need a publisher to publish on those platforms. So
Mm,
publishers don't market your book.
mm,
They're going to ask you, the first question they'll ask is, "Hey, how are you going to sell this book?" And that used to be the value prop of why you went with a publisher. So it's just the landscape has shifted. It's not necessary to publish through a publisher anymore. In a lot of cases, it's not preferable. Like if you want to keep
mhm.
the lion's share of the royalties, you want to retain your IP. To your point, you want to have full control over what you say, what you don't say, where you can use it. Even something as simple as like, "Hey, I want a free plus shipping funnel." Well, you gotta buy it, like, if you go through a publisher, you gotta buy those through a publisher.
I have to
And so
buy my
now
book from them to give away to my people, basically.
totally, which just
Yeah.
screws up the economics of your funnel, right?
Mhm.
But then also, like, super little things, like, one of the things I do is as part of my book, and, you might R&D this, for your book. My buddy Dan Martell, R&D, he calls it rob and duplicate. So you might
Every
do
day, all day, son.
do a little R&D here,
Yeah,
but,
man.
I know a lot of people are listening, so you might not be able to see this,
It'll be on
but
YouTube too.
first couple pages of the book, page 1 is the audiobook. So I give away
Yeah.
the audiobook for free. Now, some people think, a lot of people will click the look inside and they'll see this and they're like, "Wow, Chandler is an idiot. He doesn't know that I can get his audiobook for free." Of course I know that. That lead, is worth way more to me than if they would have bought the book. But then
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
also the other piece, which is video. So it's video
Mm,
summary, which this is really one of my best converting webinars on the same topic of the book that goes
yeah.
through some of the high level concepts
That's right in the beginning of the
right
book,
in the
correct?
beginning. Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
literally flip over the first page, boom.
Wow.
It's right here. And now I'm sharing this as an example, because I think it'd be helpful. And if you haven't integrated this into your book, it'll help turn more readers into leads and into customers. But B, like something as simple as giving away this audiobook, if you're
Yeah.
with a publisher, a lot of times they will not let you do that.
Why?
And I've just seen, because we've tested a lot of stuff.
Are they feeling like that compete does that compete with them or something?
Yeah, it competes with
Yeah.
audiobook sales, which
Yeah.
sure, but if your goal is audiobook sales, then maybe that matters. If your goal is customers, and getting people to actually read the book,
Yeah.
well, then it doesn't matter. And both can exist. And people will buy multiple formats, or sometimes it's like, "Oh, I've got this MP3 on my computer on my phone. Well, I just want to listen to it on Audible,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that I
You
can
could
2x speed it or whatever." And so people end up buying it anyway.
Yeah. I resisted writing a book for a long time One, because I was doing so many other things. Like I was a podcaster, I'm a speaker, and I'm doing all these things, and we're getting leads in all these ways. And I was like, I'll do a book later. I'll do a book later. I don't really see the need for the book. Then someone said something like, because I thought I was thinking of a book as a product, like, oh, that's just another thing to sell to make money. That's the way I originally thought about it. But then someone, I can't remember who it was, said something to me like, hey, man, you're never going to make a lot of money on a book. I mean, think about it. You sell 10,000 copies at $10 for a paperback or whatever it is. Over the lifetime of your life, that's not significant money. But what is significant is if you get the book in someone's hand and they come pay you $100 a month for a year, or they pay you $10,000 for coaching, or they pay you like something down the road. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. This is a lead source. It's just like me, when I go speak, like if I speak to 3,000 people. I was in Cincinnati last week speaking, there was 3,000 people there, and I got to get up there and say, "Hi, I'm Shane Sams. Here's my story. This is what I do. This is what you can find me." And then, of course, there's the line and the people, and everybody's all interested. And I'm like, "Oh, if I could just get 3,000 people to read this book, and the book does the same thing my talk does, holy crap, that's freaking scalable. That's not me showing up on a stage limited to 3,000 people. That's
Mhm.
anybody I can get this in their hand." So that was the first thing that made me want to do a book. And then the thing that made me want to self-publish was actually watching Grant Baldwin, our buddy
Mhm.
Grant.
Mhm.
He did a book deal. He had a traditional book deal. It was cool. Don't get me wrong. Like I remember I saw it in an airport one day, and I took a picture and I sent it to him, and I'm like, "That's cool as shit." You know what I'm saying? I was like, "That's
Mhm.
pretty awesome that my friend's name is on that book there." But then I got to thinking there was only two copies of it, so there's only two humans in that whole airport ever at that time that were going to see like this messaging. And then later, Grant bought the rights of the book back
Yep.
so that he could regain control over the intellectual property and start giving it to clients and start giving it to people and start handing them out at conferences and stuff. And I thought, oh man, this is the way that you do this. This is actually more portable than podcasting. This is more tangible and real in their life. And like you said, I'm a collector. If I like a book, like I've got the audio, all the Dan Kennedy stuff. I got the audio books. I got the paperbacks. I got the
Yeah.
collector's edition. I've got a collector's edition hardback in Greek of Marcus Aurelius Meditations. Can't read Greek, but I bought it. You know what I'm saying? But but they're gonna buy all that stuff anyway, like you said, to get it more convenient. But man, to be able to use it in a funnel, like that's pretty powerful. How do people launch a book, either if they have no audience or an existing audience? And then maybe
Mhm.
we could talk about that, like you said, free book funnel. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But like,
Oh,
what's your
yeah.
launch thoughts when people have a book? Like, how do
Yeah.
you launch it out to the world?
Yeah, so I'll back up just a second, and I'll say, A, if you want to hear the story of how Grant bought back his rights, check out. I did an interview on my podcast called the Self Publishing School Podcast. We
Oh,
dive
heck
into
yeah,
that.
man.
Really
Yeah,
fun, interesting
I-
story.
I'll put a link in the show notes. Yeah, for that
Perfect.
podcast.
But I want to answer the question on launch here in just a second, on funnel here in just a second. But I want to ask a follow up to you, Shane, because I see a massive opportunity to integrate this book into your speaking. How often are
Yeah.
you speaking?
I end up going out once or twice a month for
Okay.
travel. You know what I'm saying? And then it just depends if I want to do more than that. But usually once or
Okay.
twice a month. And I do a lot of I do big stage stuff quite a bit,
Mhm.
where it's like huge like crowds and things like that.
Great. And you said people flooded the booth or you after? Like, are
Well,
they
yeah,
ask
it's the I call it the bottom of the stairs. You know what I'm saying? If you go out and
Yeah.
if you go
Yeah.
out and slay, when you go down the bottom of the stairs or to a meet and greet later, everyone they don't know how you got up there. You're 5 feet above everybody levitating for
Mhm.
an hour. You know what I'm saying? So you always
Mhm.
have those 20, 30, 40 people in any crowd that are going to come up and start talking to you like immediately after it's over.
And is the goal of that speaking, is it you're just getting a keynote fee? Is the goal to grow your business? Is it something else?
It depends. Sometimes I'm doing like keynote type stuff. Sometimes this one organization I do MC work for, so I'm on
Cool.
stage all day with the whole audience,
Mhm. Cool.
and then sometimes I'll be selling either my product or somebody else's. Yeah.
Cool. So here's something I would think about if I were you, Shane, is especially once you get the book launched, is just integrating the book into your speaking gigs. It's especially assuming it's created to bring people into your business, or at least
100% it is. Yeah.
yeah. So here's what we do. I'll speak maybe once every other month or so, but us as an organization will speak maybe 3 to 5 times or more a month, but we've got a speaking team that goes out and speaks.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we'll bring books. So say it's 1,000 people, we'll bring 300 books. And then just
Mm.
at the end of the talk, it's super low key. Like it's not like go to the back of the room, work with
Yeah, yeah.
us, give an Amex or Visa.
We've got 5 copies of this book signed by Chandler Bolt, and one of them has a Willy Wonka chocolate factory ticket in it.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. It's very low key, but we just split the room. We say, "Hey, how many of you are working on a book?" And you know, it's on the maybe someday list or maybe next year. Like you're gonna do it, but just not right now. Hands raised.
Mm,
Okay, perfect. I brought 300 copies of this book, so not enough for everyone. But if you're serious about it, I want to give you a copy for free.
man.
And then I'll say, "Hey, how many of you writing a book is like it's a this year thing? Like it's a priority?" Okay, great. We're sitting down with folks, 30 minutes. We'll put together a strategy for you and see how we can help.
That's
And
yeah,
then
it's great.
here's a QR code or whatever, and you can book a session with the team while we're here, and
Yeah,
we'll really start building a strategy. And so it just is our way of splitting the room. It adds
yeah,
a ton of value. And then oftentimes it's like we'll get a crazy booth rush, or I'll just say, "Hey, I'm doing a book signing right after,"
yeah.
and I'll go to the booth, and then I'm doing a book signing, and people are coming. I mean, they're getting
Yeah,
books. They're
and it's
pumped.
free, so you're just giving it to them. There's a
Totally,
line, they get to
totally.
meet the speaker. Yeah,
It's a
that's
value
very
add to
helpful.
the conference. It's like, "Hey, I'm bringing 10 grand worth of books here," or whatever the amount is. I'm giving away for free. But for me, it's like I'm getting really great leads because they're obviously
Yeah,
filling out a contact card to get that, and then we're getting a bunch of appointments. And I mean, we'll do 50, 100K plus usually um, on every gig. And I'm not speaking to 3,000 people, and we're not speaking to 3,000 people. It might be,
yeah,
especially our speaking team, it might be 100 people, 300 people, maybe 1,000 people in the room. But it's
yeah.
just like a simple way that we integrate it into all the speaking gigs to generate a lot of business.
This is perfect because, like, even like a nugget that I wrote down there, you take about 20 to 30% of the room. So, like, even for a speaker who's going to a place with 50 things, like, take 5 to 10 books, whatever 10,
Totally.
20% is, you know what I mean? And, like, then I like the, something that I just realized, like, I do speak at a lot of places. Like, I've spoke at Podcast Movement, FinCon, real estate
Hmm.
conferences that have these, what do you call it? The vendors hall where you get a booth. And that was one thing I was thinking, like, man, if I go speak somewhere, where can I need a camp where they can be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be at my booth in the vendors hall." We just set up a little booth there or whatever. Come get a free copy of my book.
Totally.
They're signed, set that up,
Totally.
and then if 50 people hear you, take 10, 20 books. If 100 people hear
Mhm.
you, take 20, 30. If 500 people, whatever it is, take that, build the line, and, even
Totally.
work that into my speaking contracts, like, "Hey, I get to give these
Yeah,
books out."
a
Yeah.
booth for a book signing, and
Yeah, and
and and you can if you can add it into your contract in the sense of like, "Hey, I'm bringing $10,000 worth of books." Uh,
yes.
and so, yeah, you should pay me a higher fee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And also too, I've heard people negotiate, this is something we've toyed with. I've heard people negotiate speaking fees like, "Hey, my normal fee is $10,000 or whatever it is,
Mhm.
but if you'll buy X copies of my book I can give out, I'll
Totally.
knock it down to this." But
Totally.
I like the reciprocity of, "Hey, just pay me what you're gonna pay me, but I'm gonna bring books."
Yeah,
You know what I'm
totally.
saying? And
Yeah,
then it's like, "Oh, I'm not asking for anything. It's not even a
yeah,
negotiation. It's you offered me a great price. I'm gonna bring value and add it on the
totally.
backside of that." That's really,
I
really
think
good.
either way works, right? And
For
especially
sure.
the more you're so then but the pitch would maybe just change a little bit, which either way it's edifying to the event, which let's say you brought me in to speak at your event. I could and we negotiated it as part of the contract. You bought 100 books. Then I'm just like, hey, Shane is the man. He bought
Yeah.
100 copies for you guys.
Yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah,
gonna give them
yeah.
away afterwards.
I
Like,
like that spin better. Like,
so either
anything.
way, it's like they're
Yeah.
paying for them or you're paying from them for them, but it's a huge value add for the audience.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant, dude. Now, what about online? That's a great offline strategy, and I do highly recommend anybody out there, if you have a book and you're speaking, give away your book. That was really
Yeah.
smart.
So
Online.
let me actually answer your
Go ahead.
question, your
Yeah.
original question.
Oh, the
So
launch. We forgot about launch.
yeah, you're good. That's my fault. So on launch, I would look at this, and I'm just well, just trying to pull this up in my book, but I can't find the page right now. But I talk about this concept of a launch triangle. There's really three pillars. There's a first one is a launch team. This is a small group of people who support you, your business, or the topic of your book. Could be 15 people, 50 people, 100 plus, especially with an audience like yours. If I
Yep.
just did one thing, I would just do a launch team, and you have people opt in. Um, Team is an acronym. T is for tell everyone about it. E is for enroll the people who are interested. And the enrollment looks like, hey, it's a launch team. Pretty straightforward. One of three options. You can do tier one, where you just buy the book. Tier two, where you buy the book and leave a review on launch day. Or tier three, where you buy the book, leave a review on launch day, and share the book on social.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one is best for you? And then they'll give you a 1, 2, or 3. Perfect. So I'm now enrolled and set expectations. And then the A is ask everyone for a review. Sounds pretty straightforward. But like ask the launch team, I like to create a group around it.
Mm,
Maybe it's a chat group or maybe it's a Facebook group, etc. And then the M stands for message everyone individually, which again
mm.
sounds super straightforward, but people just think, oh, all I have to do is just ask one time and everyone's going to leave a review. But during launch week, I recommend messaging at least 200 people, 30 people a day, one-on-one messaging or text, and just like, hey, can you leave a review here? Because
Yeah.
getting review, so launch team is one point of the triangle. Then there's reviews, and then there's promos or promotions, right? And that kind of becomes the promotions is the accordion based on how much time, money, and energy you have to put in this book. But the launch team helps you get more reviews along with a bunch of individual follow-up. Have I ever sent you a copy of this book, Shane?
Yeah, I've got it. I'm
Okay.
reading it right now, bro. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Flipping through it.
perfect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So check out the reviews chapter.
Yeah.
There's the launch chapter, but check out the reviews chapter. There's just a couple things that, especially during launch week coming up here in October, you'll want to use a bunch of that stuff.
Yeah.
But so get reviews and then promote in a bunch of different ways, like what you're doing, going on
Yeah.
podcast interviews, doing a book
Podcast interviews. Right now, our promote side is podcast interviews. Of course, we're going to hit our email list really hard that month, the first month that it's out. And then one thing that I really realized is after you launch the book, you're going to get your reviews, you're going to get some sold, you're going to get whatever you get, right? But then you kind of got to keep it's like the launch doesn't end. Does that make sense? Like it's got to then become like we're really viewing it as top of funnel. That's what we're trying to think of it as like from now on. I just talked to do you know Austin Netzley from a
Oh yeah,
2X?
he's like
Yeah,
one
you
of
know
my best friends.
he's the man, dude. Like so we were talking about that the way he uses his books and they just think of books as the top of the funnel. Like he writes a book to create a new funnel basically
Yeah,
for everything and he's a master at it. He's done a great job with all that
he
stuff
used
too.
to run a book marketing company. When I say one of my best friends, like I literally created this entrepreneur house in San Diego. He was the first person that said yes to it. Uh,
Wow.
we've lived together probably 3 or 4 different times in different cities. He lives in Austin with,
Yeah.
as do I. And like one of my best friends. He's just at my
Dude,
wedding. Like
dude,
he's a
I was
legend.
up
And
he's a legend, man. He's
he's done
really
a
cool.
great job of exactly that. Hey, from
Yeah,
6 to 7 figures is the book, now into the funnel. 2-week
yeah.
vacation test is the book, that's the hook, now into the funnel for a product that can help free up
Even on
your
his
time.
website, I was, what'd you call it? R&D, Robin,
Yeah,
whatever it was.
rob and
I was looking
duplicate.
yeah, yeah, Robin Duplicate, that's right. I was like we were talking about this with, Jocelyn and, my project manager, like, yesterday, and I was like, "Let's go look at their website," and even on his every strip of his website is another book, and it's scrolling from left to right, and I'm almost, like, watching his funnel develop in front of me, like, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's the book," and then they do this, and then I'm hacking the crap out of him right now because he's doing it right. You know what I'm saying? It's
That's a
just so
great example.
prominent at 2X, like, on their website. Everything
Mhm.
is about him, then the book. The clients, then the book. The clients, then the book. And it's just like I felt like I need to order all of his books right now. It just pulls you in to kind of get that Christmas gift in the mail of the book, and then you're down the rabbit hole. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
cool.
So what about online funnels? Like, I mean, I've
Mhm,
seen the classics like, Brendan Burchard's free book funnel. Russell Brunson does a lot of this stuff. Alex Hormozy does a lot of this stuff.
mhm.
How do you guys push the books online? Do you run ads to the book? Is it free plus shipping? Like, how are you making your money back or on the back end of that? Are you just booking
Mhm.
calls, selling stuff? Like, what do you guys do with a free book funnel?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. The goal of the book is to add a ton of value and to, uh get people to book appointments. And
Yeah.
so like this is after the page I showed you earlier, this is the second page. And it's, hey,
Oh,
we want
yeah.
our help at selfpublishing.com. Like, hey, do you want help implementing this? Book a call with the team. That's also the call to action at the end of the book. Right. So it just like
Mm.
makes it super simple to say, hey, this is the next step. If you like this book, here's how you can work with us. But then as far as integrating into the business, I mean, I could talk for half an hour on this. We integrated everywhere. So the speaking gigs, like I mentioned, on our site and our sales funnels, because we see a lift where it's like maybe you have a webinar funnel and you say, hey, I'll give you a book as part of this. You got to show up and stay to the
Mm.
end. So now there's
Gotcha.
inherent value, and they actually show up and do the thing that you want them to. So there's just a bunch of ways like that that we integrate it. We will have free digital book funnels where we'll give away the book all over the place. But then we'll do free plus shipping as well. That's been one
Yeah.
of our top converting funnels in the past. We're about to bring it back. Where, we'll give away the book for free, just pay shipping and handling.
Yeah.
But I try to keep it super simple. Like we don't have a bunch of low ticket products that we sell, which oftentimes is how people kind of self liquidate that cost.
Yeah.
But what we do is, we might have free plus shipping, one-time offer, something unique, something that's not available anywhere else in the, 20 to $30 range to help self-liquidate. But then on the thank you page, it's just super straightforward. It's, hey, you're going to love this book. It'll be to you in a couple weeks. The one thing the book can't do is talk to you and customize the strategy.
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
serious about this, scroll
Book
below
a
the
call.
video, book a call with our team. We'd love to help do that. And so that's how it's just very natural to say, hey, this is not for everyone. This is only for overachievers and A players and people who are serious about this. If that's
Yeah.
you, book a call with the team. And so that's our simple kind of funnel flow. Pretty much
Yeah.
on the back end of everything book related is take the very next step, book a call with the team, and we can chat about working together.
I love you said something really interesting. I want to make sure people catch. I've never thought to do this before, but I love ads to webinar because webinars are great, right? So you run some ads, get a webinar going, talk about whatever you talk about. I always have a stick too. It's like, stick around to the end and you can get my slides or you can get a free course or you can get anybody that stays around at the end, I'm gonna give you a link to whatever. I love that's a brilliant idea. It's like, hey, thanks for coming. Since you came, if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna drop a link and you can get a free digital copy of the book or
Yep.
whatever, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it still costs you nothing, especially if you self-publish and you control everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you give them that link, now you've really started a funnel because they're going to land on a page. They're either going to put name and email in again, double opt-in kind of feeling to get the
Mm-hmm.
digital. You can have hey, we'll ship you a book for $9 or whatever it is, free
Totally.
plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, we don't book a call because we focus on our membership first. Our membership's $100 a month for Flip Lifestyle, right? Say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like once we've already had the webinar is going to pretty much do some similar things. You give them the freaking book. Now you got long tail working behind you. A couple of days from now, they're going to get that book or right instantly. And then once they get that, you deliver on the next page. We can sell whatever. We can either book a call or do a membership or do whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I
Um,
like that.
really, really good. I like the book as a stick, not as the draw. Like,
Right.
hey, if you sign up for my webinar, then I'll give you the book. Well, they may not come to the webinar, but here's the
Sure.
webinar. I'll give you the book if you stay.
Yep.
That's genius because everybody wants a book. You know what I'm saying? They're
Right.
going to stick around for
And
that,
you
dude.
can do both, though, is what I'd say. And you certainly could do one or the other, but you can include that on your opt-in page. So now you're boosting opt-ins.
Or the
Where
webinar
hey,
itself.
yeah, it's hey, I've got this webinar, and you'll also get a free copy of my book.
Anyone who
Um,
shows up will get the
exactly.
book.
Yeah.
When they get there, you say, now you
Totally.
showed up. I'm going to give you the
Yeah.
book. And that's when you're
Yeah.
going to, yeah,
Totally. Which I
dig
mean
it.
is still within integrity and is very much like, well, yeah, you got to show up to
Yeah.
get the
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, you sign up for the thing, like you show up, I'll give it to you
Got to
for
put the
sure.
work in, people.
Yeah.
Also too, like I do see most of my friends because I think there's been I think AI did this a little bit, and I think that just the nature of how content has changed. I do find a lot more of my friends doing more high ticket type packages. You know what I'm saying? And I feel a lot of people in my circle. It's all anecdotal because we all have our people, but like I feel a lot of people using books to get those calls booked. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you don't know when they're going to book, but if you're like pushing book a call in the front, in the middle, after every chapter, get a free resource, get the book. sooner or later they're going to flip a page and go, "What the heck am I doing? I could just talk to these jokers." You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm very interested to see if the book can push memberships. That's
Mhm.
my gambit
Mhm.
here because I
Mhm.
don't know a lot of people going straight free book to membership,
Mhm.
and I'm interested to see if we can get people off the fence by
Mhm.
putting a book in their hand and then and getting them over there like that.
Mhm.
So how do you keep the momentum going? All right. So say we get our book, get the launch, we set up a funnel. How does an author keep the momentum going in their book? I mean, it's got to become a part of your routine, of course,
Yes.
but how much of it is focused on it? Like, do you think that it takes to kind of keep it going?
Yeah, I mean, my recommendation is like I call this the 1 year launch, and it's
Mm,
kind of the difference between the Lamborghini launch and the Toyota Camry approach. So Lamborghinis are sexy, they're flashy, they use up a ton of fuel, they're shoo going in a flash, right? Toyota Camry just that sucker just keeps going and going and
yeah,
going. It's not flashy, but it keeps driving results.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll drive the
Literally,
Toyota until the wheels fall off, son.
yeah. Uh, I could also shout out the Nissan Altima, which
I had a Nissan Altima for 10 years. High fives. Oh yeah, baby. That car never broke down ever, not one time,
it
all the way
fixes
up till we sold
itself,
it.
man.
Yeah,
I'll
I
have
swear it
random
does.
stuff that breaks,
Yeah,
and then
man.
it just starts working again. I'm at 235,000 miles.
We had a Nissan Altima one time, and I pulled back. I was leaving football practice, and I pulled back and hit the bumper. It ripped the bumper off, and I was broke. I was a school teacher when this happened, and I was like, I took it home. I spent like 2 hours duct taping it back up. Didn't even know how to fix it, but I didn't have any money to fix it. And Jocelyn was like, "You're gonna drive that thing with all that duct tape on it?" And I'm like, "That thing still drives perfect. I am not getting out of the Nissan Altima as long as that duct tape holds the bumper on." So
So, hey, that's
yeah,
what you
but
want your
they'll
book
go.
to be, right?
Yeah,
That it keeps going. And so my point there is most people just focus on the launch week and then they drop it like it's hot, it's going in a flash, and then they wonder why their book doesn't sell. And so
yeah,
instead, what I recommend is the 1 year launch. So just integrate it into what you do, into speaking gigs, into webinars and podcasts. Keep going on podcasts and stuff. And it's an excuse to do so. And I still talk. I mean, this
yeah,
book's been out for a couple years now. I just say, hey, my new book.
yeah,
It's new to me. It's
yeah,
my
yeah,
newest book.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
it's I plug
New
it
to them
everywhere.
for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely
it's
new
new
to
to them.
them. And
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
so this is my newest book. It's my new book. Right? And so I'm just always talking about it, always embedding it in what I do, and it just gives it a
yeah,
life of its own. And I've seen a bunch of people that have come on my podcast talk about it is they just kept marketing it. I mean, Hal Elrod is a great example of this. The Miracle Morning
oh
didn't
yeah,
sell a lot of copies at the beginning, but he said, "Hey, I did 300 podcast interviews over the next year, and
yeah,
I watched every month sales started to rise." And so just
yeah.
integrating it into everything.
Yeah, I like the 1 year launch. That's a great mindset turn of phrase because you're thinking about it long term. And I'll tell you some clarity it's given me that I did not expect. I mean, I've been in the online marketing game since 2012, right? And one of the things that I always find comes up like all the time in any online business, any of my students, anybody is, okay, what's our next lead magnet? What are we going to give away on this podcast, on that podcast? This just clarifies that whole question completely because if you write the book correctly, which is important, and it's designed to do something like show off what you do and get people interested, there's no reason not to just let it always be the lead magnet at a speaking gig, at an online funnel, anywhere else. You can just put it out there. What are we giving away this week? The book. What else are we giving away? The audio book. You know what I mean? The
Totally.
video lessons, like whatever it
Uh-huh.
is, you can just give them away as fast as you can and forever, basically. Yeah,
That's a great example.
it's
I
good
mean,
stuff, man.
the audiobook with that it's totally different. Totally, it's got a great value prop. And so that's where even as you launch, what I do and what I recommend people do is like do different launches. So do a launch
Yeah,
for like the ebook and print, and then a month later do the launch for the audiobook.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
especially,
for
I
sure,
mean,
man.
so now you've got a focused promotion just on the audiobook, and you can do the
One
same thing.
hardback, one
Yeah,
paperback, one freaking
exactly.
digital, one freaking like whatever. Yeah, our main strategy on our content side is so in the book, um, it's called Earn More, Live More. And it's about our story of how we went from teachers to entrepreneurs and then all the people that went through flipped lifestyle. So we have 16 stories in the book of case studies, right? And these are I wrote these, and then we hired a new ghostwriter to investigate them to make sure they were all like dead accurate, right? Like they
Cool.
called them back and went out and found them. So we know these are like insanely detailed, perfectly
Mhm.
good stories. Well, all these people over the past 7, 8 years of Flip Lifestyle, they've been on the podcast at one time or another. And initially we were like, well, let's like give links to their podcast, let's whatever. But we said, no, what if we just used our entire capital of all of our podcasts through the end of the year, 16 straight episodes, and I just brought them on. And every week we get to say, this
Yeah.
person's in the book, get the
Yes.
book. This person's
Yes.
in the book, get the book, and just keep
Mhm.
rolling with those people. And then
Mhm.
then next year we want to bring them back like one a month.
Mhm.
So that way every month we're hitting and just, hey, what
Totally.
happened since the last time you were on? And just keep
Totally.
pushing everything that's actually in the book and only do podcasts for Flip Lifestyle about the book itself. You know what
I
I'm saying?
love that.
Yeah.
And I think one other thing you could do, I've seen Sean Cannell do this very well, is he sponsors all of his content with his book. And so
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
"Hey,
Like the
this is
podcast,
brought to you
everything.
by
Brought to you
YouTube
by. Yeah.
Secrets.
Yeah, man.
It's here's where you can go get the book. Super
Yeah.
simple, but it's just
Yeah.
like an ad read for his YouTube videos, for his podcast, for etc. But it's for his own stuff and it's for his own book,
Yeah,
and so
man.
it's just like a
That's good stuff.
small, simple way to keep the book top of mind.
Love it, dude. Well, Chandler, man, listen, known you for a while. Love you. Dude. I'm just so impressed by everything you've built, and you are an entrepreneur's entrepreneur, man. Good dude. A lot of great friends that we know in common, and this has been insanely valuable, dude. So if anybody out there wants to do a self-published book, they want to go to somebody that knows how to do it. Tell them how to get there.
Yeah. So I'll practice what I preach here. There's two best resources that might be helpful. Number one, if it's on the maybe someday list, get a copy of the audiobook of my book for free. So go to
Hmm.
publishedbook.com/audio. That's publishedbook.com/audio. You can get the free audio. It's a podcast after all. So I'm assuming you probably prefer to listen to audio. But then secondly, if you're like, hey, I'm working on a book and I'm serious about it, then go to selfpublishing.com/apply and book a call with our team. And we'd love to chat with you, put together a strategy, and see how we can help.
Love it, man. Chandler Bolt, thanks for being on the show, man.
Shane, thank you.
All right, y'all. That wraps up my interview with my good friend Chandler Boat. Man, he is absolutely top notch, tier one. If you were looking to do anything with self publishing a book for a funnel, a book because you've got a book on your heart and you want to write it, a book because you want to use it to get more speaking gigs, a book to give to your potential coaching clients, whatever it is, you need to check out selfpublishing.com. Look up Chandler Bolt. He's been helping authors now for a long time, and I know that he can help you too. And there was a lot of you need to go back and listen to this one again because if you've got a book or you've got any kind of funnel, there were some great tips and tactics and strategies in there to launch a product, launch a book, or just to have a funnel set up to keep bringing leads into your calendar and making sure that all of your coaching programs and everything that you're doing are full. That's all the time I've got for this week's episode of the Shane Sam Show. I got to go and market my book. I got to go figure out how I'm going to sell more of these books. If you want to check out my book or at least get on the waiting list whenever you hear this, whenever it comes out, head over to shanesams.com, ShaneSams.com. You can check out all of the podcasts, videos, courses, communities, all the stuff we do, including my new book, Earn More, Live More, How to Make Money Online and Build the Life of Freedom that you want. Go check that out, shanesams.com. And make sure you are tuning in every single week right here on the Shane Sam Show and over on the Flip Lifestyle Podcast so you can learn how to share your story. You can learn how to make money online. You can learn how to turn your story and your gifts into an income for your family so you can build the life that you want. But that's all the time I got for today. Till next time, get out there, light it up, do whatever it takes to flip your life. We'll see you then. Bye.